Politics is a game of numbers. And not just numbers, perceptual numbers. And that's why in politics, you might have the real numbers, but still fail. And someone might have perceptual numbers, not real numbers, but they end up succeeding. And I like giving people the example of President Uhuru Kenyatta. In 2013, Uhuru Kenyatta didn't have real numbers. So Mutai Ngunyi had to create for Uhuru Kenyatta perceptual numbers through what he called the tyranny of numbers. And he used that theory to convince Kenyans that Uhuru Kenyatta actually has the numbers. So that's what I call perceptual numbers. And today in this country, there's a contest for numbers. And I remember opining on this platform that the contest for 2022 is going to be determined in Western Kenya. That for you to be declared the president of the Republic of Kenya, you'll have to win Central Kenya. But there's also a contest for numbers in Central Kenya. And this in Mount Kenya region. And this contest is pitting the deputy president William Samoei Ruto and President UHURU Kenyatta. Who is going to deliver numbers? And will the deputy president succeed in becoming the president of this Republic of Kenya without getting the support from Central Kenya? So today I want us to look at why I strongly believe that William Ruto is likely to win the contest for numbers in Central Kenya. But whether that will make him the president or not is something which I still can't tell. But before we go into those details, I want you to take a second or two and click the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this one, you'll get notified. Now back to the main issue. Kenyans are asking themselves two main questions. Can the deputy president William Samoei Ruto win Central Kenya votes? Or they are also asking it this way. Can Raila Odinga become the president of the Republic of Kenya without the support of Central Kenya? That's one question which Kenyans are actually asking. And I want to start by answering the question about Raila Odinga becoming the president of the Republic of Kenya without the support of Central Kenya. But let me go back a bit. Dennis Itumbi made an interesting post on his Facebook page today, on his Twitter. Let me just get it. Dennis Itumbi made an interesting post because I know for sure that Dennis Itumbi speaks for the deputy president William Ruto. Now this is what Itumbi posted. Kikuyu Council of Elders inside the plan to control the Kikuyu community. The planning and financing by Harambee House prefect. A 40-minute audio later. Kieleweke, a BBI senior official, a PS, and some compromised musicians. The people versus the system. That's Dennis Itumbi. And let me also take you to William Ruto's Facebook page. He also made a series of posts from yesterday. So in one of the posts, which I think was yesterday, the DP held a meeting with, this is what the DP is saying. This morning we worshipped with the clergy from various churches in Kirinyaga County at the Karen residence in Nairobi. So he worshipped with church leaders, various church leaders, all the way from Kirinyaga, and they came to Karen. As if there were as if there were no bishops or preachers in Nairobi to preach there. Or as if the people of Kirinyaga didn't really need prayer from these guys. No, that's something he said. Then again, he also posted something 2 days ago. Anne Wangui was an excellent grassroots mobilizer in Othanyeri County. Her death was devastating to her 2 daughters, families, and friends, and the Jubilee Party. Glad I met her friends and family today to assure them that we will work together in this journey of life. So the other meeting was for Kirinyaga. Now, this one here is talking of Othaya in Nyeri. And then, in the same breath, the deputy president also met with Mzee Kamunyu Wambugu and Mama Isabella Wanjiru, who took to him some cassava, the big cassava. So I was wondering, these guys were able to get that huge cassava. So they took it all the way from Nyeri to the deputy president. It's not normally very easy to get an appointment to meet the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya. It's not very easy. So probably a game was being played here. The reason I'm showing you all that is that in central Kenya today and the larger Mount Kenya today, there's a contest for numbers. The deputy president wants to appeal to the people of central Kenya so that he can get their votes. On the other side, UHURU Kenyatta is also trying to regain control of central Kenya and the larger Mount Kenya region. But can Ruto become the president of the Republic of Kenya without the support of central Kenya? To answer that, you must figure out, you must understand one thing, that the deputy president is well aware that he must get the support from central Kenya. And as things stand today, and I'm going to show you the figures, the deputy president cannot get the same percentage Uhuru got in 2017 and 2013. Those numbers are going to go down. And how are those numbers going to affect him? And why do I believe that Ruto is likely to defeat UHURU Kenyatta in central Kenya? Now, let's go back to the question of Raila Odinga. Can Raila Odinga become the president of the Republic of Kenya without the support of central Kenya? That's one question which you must ask, because the contest in central Kenya is about those particular votes. But can Raila become the president without those support? Let us go and dig the figures. And I want to take you back to the back to 2013, because the figures IBC gave us for 2017 are not authentic. They know so well, they cooked those figures, they uploaded them, they were not adding up, they removed them. So today you can't get IBC figures from these countries for 2017. So I want to use the 2013 figures, presidential results, pitting Raila Odinga and UHURU Kenyatta. Remember, Raila Odinga contested in 2007. He didn't get central Kenya votes. He contested in 2013. He didn't get central Kenya votes. He contested in 2017. He didn't get central Kenya votes. In 2007, without central Kenya votes, he won the presidency. But of course, he had the support of Rift Valley. In 2013, he didn't have the support of Rift Valley. But the figures, UHURU defeated Raila Odinga with a very small margin. UHURU had 6.1 million votes. Raila Odinga had 5.3 million votes. So the difference was around 800,000. And you can assume 800,000 is a huge margin. It's not, because UHURU had like averagely 50.5%. Raila had something like 43. And you know what happened during that time was that Raila Odinga's figures, especially from Jubilee's strongholds, were being deflated, while UHURU Kenyatta's figures were being inflated. Let me just take you through the figures. I want you to be very keen, because these figures, and I'm reading them, these figures are going to be very important in answering whether Raila Odinga can actually become the president of the Republic of Kenya without the support of central Kenya. Can Raila Odinga, it's going to be important to understand whether Raila Odinga can actually become the president without the support of Mount Kenya. Let's go to Kiambu. How did they vote in 2013? Kiambu voted for UHURU 90.2%. Raila Odinga only got 7.8%. Are you getting that difference? So Kiambu in the last election had 1,180,000 votes. So if you calculate less than 10% of that, which means in Kiambu alone, UHURU got more than 1 million. The difference between UHURU and Raila was almost more than 1 million. That is in Kiambu alone. So assuming in 2022, Raila will not get 7.8%. This time he will only get 20%. So that's a huge difference. And that's why Mutei Ngwinyi was claiming, and is right, that Raila Odinga only needs 30% from central Kenya and it's done. Now in Nyandarua, Uhuru in 2013 got 97.1%. Raila only got 1.2%. In Nyandarua, the last election, they had 335,000 votes. In Nyeri, Uhuru had 96.3. Raila only had 1.7. In Kirinyaga, Uhuru had 95.9. Raila had 1.4%. In Muranga, Uhuru had 95.9%. Raila had 2.4%. In Nakuru, Uhuru had 80% because Nakuru, there's the Nakuru town, which is cosmopolitan. There's the Naivasha, where we have a presence of Luos and lawyers working on those farms. So Raila in Nakuru got 17.1%. In Embu, Uhuru got 89%. Raila got 7.9%. In Tharaka Nithi, Uhuru got 92.4%. Raila got 5.1%. In Meru, Raila got 7%. Uhuru got 89.1%. So that tells you one thing, that Raila Odinga has been performing in this country in the general election without the support from central Kenya. So Raila Odinga will only need like 20% or 30% from central Kenya to succeed. And the deputy president understands this. And that's why the deputy president is putting all efforts in ensuring that he will consolidate central Kenya without leaving UHURU Kenyatta with the space. And that's why I read for you that post by Dennis Itumbi. What Dennis Itumbi was alluding to is that there's a plan to use the Council of Elders. Remember, these guys just recently dismissed the deputy president, claim that UHURU is undermining him. These guys are also being used currently to try and change the narrative down there. But can the deputy president win the presidency without the support of central Kenya? He can, but on one condition. The condition is simple. The deputy president must be ready to ensure that he penetrates coast and he penetrates Western Kenya. If Western Kenya will leave the deputy president and coast, then he's going to have a big challenge. But as a matter of fact, he's going to win central Kenya. And the reasons are very simple. For example, in Nyandarua, Raila only got 1.2%. So of all the people in Nyandarua, 100 people, the only people, if you have 200 people in Nyandarua, the only people who voted, if you have 1,000 people in Nyandarua, the only people who voted for Raila Odinga, out of 1,000, you only have 12 people voting for Raila Odinga. Out of 1,000. Because they were supporting UHURU Kenyatta. But now that UHURU Kenyatta is not running, assuming even UHURU was supporting Ruto, the mere fact that UHURU will not be running, there are certain people from central Kenya who voted for UHURU Kenyatta because ni mtu yao. It's like, just like your brother is contesting for the presidency. Your brother is contesting for a seat against someone. You know your brother has weaknesses, but because it's there, you must stand with them. So many people, the mere fact that UHURU will not be on the ballot, some of them will vote for Raila Odinga for one reason or the other. So definitely the figures for Raila Odinga is likely to increase. But now the fact that UHURU Kenyatta is likely to support Raila Odinga, and UHURU had 97.1% people voting for him. Even if they hate UHURU Kenyatta, that figure cannot reduce to less than 40%. And that's the challenge the deputy president has. But the question is, can the deputy president, if a contest is now between these two guys, can the deputy president win? In my view, there are several factors which is making me believe that the deputy president can actually win. Number one is what I call the betrayal tag. It's on record and public domain that UHURU Kenyatta and the Kikuyus promised to vote for the deputy president, William Samoei Ruto. If they will not vote for the deputy president, William Samoei Ruto, in 2022, despite giving that promise, what is going to happen is that Kenyans will believe for sure that Kikuyus cannot promise you something and deliver, especially when it comes to election. And to deal with that, these guys are likely, some of them, people with conscience will say, now we are going to set a very bad precedent for our future generation. Kikuyus will not be trusted again. They betrayed Mboya, they betrayed Jaramogi, Even Raila was betrayed because Kibaki was supposed to become the president, then appoint Raila Odinga the prime minister in 2002. Immediately Kibaki became the president, they started fighting Raila Odinga. So they would want that tag to go away. So there are certain people from central Kenya who would just vote for Ruto just to fight that tag of betrayal. Aseme, mimi, my conscience is Ujamali to campaign. Sasa mimi, let me also campaign for him. Number 2 is what I call class wars. In central Kenya, there are several wars. The poor versus the rich. Watoto wa freedom fighters versus the home guards. If you look at the leadership in central Kenya, most of them are probably home guards. And people who fought for the democracy, who fought for the independence, for their lands, are actually, most of them are in poverty. Because of that, they will tend to associate more with the DP on the perception that the DP is a hustler and it's being fought by the same people who frustrated their fathers and their grandfathers. So some people will vote for the DP on that. Number 3 is the Kikuyus in diaspora. It's also going to, not really diaspora outside the country, the Kikuyus in Rift Valley. And the deputy president has made them believe that they'll only be safe if he becomes the president. And some of them also believe that their safety will only be guaranteed if the deputy president becomes the president. Because in this country, we have reckless people. There are people who have stated that you must vote for the deputy president. Msipompigia kura, mutaona. And to address this, I remember at some point, was it last year or this year, the office of the president was trying to create so many police stations in Rift Valley, and people were claiming like the idea behind that was to try and strategically protect the people, the Kikuyus in diaspora, from being attacked in a situation where UHURU Kenyatta will not support the DP. So because of that, there are certain Kikuyus in Rift Valley who would want to be associated with the Rift Valley. And Ngunjiri Kimani once stated that very clearly. Number 4 is the hatred for Raila Amolo Odinga. Kikuyus have been made to believe that Raila Odinga is a very bad man. And this has happened over the years, from Kibaki's time. In fact, when Raila Odinga was campaigning for Kibaki, he was a very good man. But immediately Kibaki became the president, that anti-Raila Odinga campaign was engineered in central Kenya and the larger Kikuyu population. So it was propagated in 2007 because they felt Raila wanted to take power from them. Again in 2013, and in 2017, UHURU Kenyatta had to hire the Cambridge Analytica to instill fear. Today, even on this platform, where most people are educated, there are people who believe Raila Odinga is bad because of the fear which was instilled on them or in them by the Cambridge Analytica. Watakwambia tu Raila ni mbaya, Raila nini. Yeah? So because of that, some of them are likely to vote for the deputy president, William Ruto. Let us go back to those figures again. In Kiambu County, only 7.8% voted for Raila Odinga. And Kiambu, we have towns like Juja, Kiambu town itself, which are kind of cosmopolitan. So you can say, out of this 7.8, even 6% of those people were actually people from either Luos, Kisiis, lawyers, watu wa coast wenye wanaishi in those small towns. So you go to Nyandarua, only 1.2% voted for Raila Odinga. So even if you want to convince these people to vote for Raila Odinga in 2022, they have not been voting for him for the last 15 years or 20 years. Now you want to tell them to vote for Raila Odinga. That number can only increase, but not to 60%. It can only increase to 10. Like if it was 1.2%, it can increase to 12%. It can increase, even 20 or 30. And because of that hatred, some of these guys will find themselves voting for the deputy president, William Samoei Ruto, because UHURU Kenyatta will not be contesting. He will not be on the ballot. And lastly, I think it also has to do with the performance of President Uhuru Kenyatta. Jubilee government failed from day zero. That's on record. In 2017, when we were going for the polls, this country had already collapsed. But because some of these guys were keen on protecting the presidency to remain in their house, they just had to support this government. And remember, the failure of this government, it's hurting the entire country. But the people who are hurt the most are the Kikuyus. They're non-businessmen and women. They're non-farmers. So if the economy is doing badly, then it directly affects them. So they've been crying about their milk, their coffee, and their piratery because of the government which overborrowed, and they supported that. Now, because Uhuru will not be running in 2022, now at least they can see the light. They can say, okay, now what are we thinking about? If you leave that alone, Jubilee promised heaven. And because of borrowing, some of the projects have not been delivered. Roads here, there, housing here, there. You know, because apart from being a Kikuyu, ordinarily you use the same oxygen, you use the same coffee, you use the same kahawa, you use the same tea, unatumia the same nyanya kwa mama mboga. Yeah, if you stay in Nairobi, your neighbor is likely a Kikuyu, the other one is likely a Luo, you know. So you buy things from the same shop. So it means the effect of all this is now being felt. Jubilee promised heaven. Some of those heavens they promised have actually turned into hell. People are suffering. Their vehicles cannot even reach certain destinations because government cannot fund development projects. So because of those Jubilee failures, some of these guys are likely to support William Samoei Ruto. The only thing, and I'm very sorry for this, the only question I've failed to understand is why some people want to believe that Uhuru Kenyatta has failed as the president. But now the deputy president can't succeed. I've never understood that logic because something tells me in the last 5 years, the deputy president actually had power in the government. And this government messed more during that time. So how he can now come to be a savior of these people is still something I don't know. But people have choices, so they can make the right choice, they can make the wrong choice. Is up to them. I don't know what you think, but from where I am, if elections were to be held in central Kenya today, William Ruto is likely to win. I know it's debatable. Some people will say he can't do that. He can't defeat Uhuru Kenyatta. But because of these reasons, I think in central Kenya, the deputy president might carry the day because Uhuru will not be running, by the way. So it will be either Raila Odinga, Uhuru Kenyatta supporting Raila Odinga versus Ruto, or he's supporting Gideon Moi versus Ruto, or he's supporting Kalonzo Musyoka versus Ruto. So in that scenario, the people of central Kenya might decide to vote for William Samoei Ruto. But the only challenge for the DP is that he cannot get the 95% votes, which Uhuru got. So his figures are going to be reduced greatly. And if they go beyond 70%, he should forget about the presidency because those figures won't favor him. I don't know what you think. And if you're watching this video for the first time, please take a second or two and click the subscribe button so that next time you produce a video like this, you get notified. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. Thank you guys, and please, may you have a good day.